Does the name Michael Mason ring any bells?
Mason isn't just an assassin. He's a precision instrument. He was one of the first of elite operatives.
Then what happened?
Hi, Rick. I'm Haley from Nerdspin. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
So Shelter, the newest Jason Statham action flick, but it's also your newest film too. To get right into it, I saw that that you started filming in March 2025 and it's now out in January. That's less than 10 months. Do you find that this was like a short turnaround, or were you able to get everything done in that time period?
Yeah, I mean, it is a short turnaround, but it wasn't pre-planned that way. I had just finished filming Greenland migration, and through the post-production process, when I got this great call from Jason Statham about this script that he was really excited about, and I jumped right in because I thought it was a great way to remind audiences not only what an amazing action star he is, but also what a great actor he is as well. And you get something that is more heartfelt and emotional through the ride, as we put you on the edge of your seat in the action as well. So we went right into that production, and that's why both movies are out around the same time. It's just the ebb and the flow of some movies taking 2 years, and some, become really, really quick turnarounds.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll touch on it in a bit, but it does give him, this film allows him to do more than just typical action. So it's very good in that sense as well. As you've been a stunt double, do you use any of that knowledge from there when you're directing an action film?
I use it in a way of the question that I was always asked, which was, what was it like to do stunts, and set yourself on fire or go 200 miles an hour in a car and crash on purpose. And I knew what they were really asking me is, what did it feel like? So I'm trying to always give you an emotional base to the action so that you're feeling the rush and being in the fear, and immersed in a way that you're not just watching it, but you're on the ride as well, like an IMAX ride. So everything is rooted in a way of having my experience be part of my arsenal that can put camera into these situations where you're getting the inside out ride of what we experience doing stunts, so that you feel as close to a firsthand experience yourself.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And in regards to Shelter, did you have any action films that you watched or like that helped influence the other decisions you made on the film as well?
No, I mean, I'm a big moviegoer, but I'm not really studying other movies to try to make mine like theirs. I'm trying to be as original as possible, and also true to what the material is. It's like, if you fall in love with something you read, then you're trying to bring that to life. So you're really focused on the originality of it, as well as, being very cognizant of the fan base and what the world expects from Jason Statham and what his brand is. So then you're trying to blend your brand and his brand in with the originality of it. Did I think about movies like Man on Fire and The Professional, and a lot of movies that dealt with this type of anti-hero, who ends up becoming like family with a younger person, and the risk that comes to that. Yeah, you're always reminded of films that are in those type of genres and so forth, but you're doing everything you can to be as original to the material you're shooting.
For sure. Have you written your films before and directed them? Do you find there's a difference when you not take someone else's script, but use someone else's written script? And so in this case, Shelter wasn't written by you. Is it different as a director to come into something that's not what you've written, or do you prefer one or the other?
I used to say that I'd had to write everything myself, but I've gotten where trying to direct more, and when you write everything from an original place, the process is a lot slower, by the time I get it to screen. So there are things I'm still writing original myself that we're working on. And then every once in a great while, these scripts come along, like Ward Perry's script that Jason brought me, or like, for example, Chris Sparling's Greenland. There's stories that I read and they grab me emotionally and punch me in the gut. And I'm like, well, I'm not letting that go. So if I feel gripped to a piece of material, it doesn't matter who wrote it. I'm going to bring my sensibilities to it as a filmmaker, but also if they compel me that I have to tell that story, then I'm in no matter who wrote it.
For sure. And that's what got you into wanting to direct Shelter in this circumstance, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. It's doing, I like movies that where you get your cake and eat it too, that they're big commercial action rides, but they're also slightly off center from the norm and they give you something new and fresh. And in this case, this mystery that unravels with Jason's character in a way of allowing time, very similar to Man on Fire, allowing time for two characters to really learn each other and become as one, in a familial sense. And then you disrupt that, and then go on to on a ride that you're emotionally gripped in. And a lot of the things that we're doing nowadays because of streaming, they become these kind of plot character dumps in the first 2 minutes of cold openings where everything is told to me in the first 60 seconds. And I like that this was more of traditional filmmaking of the stories that the majority of that were made pre-pandemic, and some of the ones that are still coming around now that I find that are taking their time to put us back into allowing story to unravel in a more organic way than pressure testing everything without you changing the channel in the first 60 seconds. And but it, as well being a really gripping action ride.
For sure. And part of that is the sequence, like the action sequences that you have in the film. And you once said that action films are starting to feel more fake, but it does feel like it does grip you in Shelter. How did you work with the actors to get each moment, to make each moment feel like that for the audience?
The great news is that Jason is a very capable person physically. He's a real fighter, a real martial artist, keeps himself in incredible shape. So you already have a willing participant that can not only do the action, but be in the moment as a character, and as in a performance mode. And then, you start working with a young kid like Bodhi Ray, which you're trying to figure out what she's going to be able to do. And then next thing you know, like she's a part of the action as well, where you can film it right there on their faces and show. I'll give you an example. When Jason is rescue swimming her in the stormy waters, well, that's real. And that's not only him physically having to carry her to the boat. She's having to play unconscious and having 4-foot swells go over the top of her and act like a rag doll in the water. So she's as much a participant in that action as he is. And then you get something that feels real because it is real.
Yeah, that's that's very good. Yeah. Speaking of Bodhi Ray, she had Hamnet out last year, and then now with her in Shelter, it allows her to show off her talents more. I feel like because she did quite well in Hamnet with like the few lines she had, but now, in Shelter she has more to work with. Like she's given more to work with as well. How did the casting process go to find her, and how did she do so well to get you like to want to cast her?
Her authenticity, and just who she is, like her own spirit. We had not seen anything on Hamnet because Hamnet was just been filmed. But we did a very wide search. Over 500 girls were interviewed and taped. And I remember coming across this freckled girl that just really blew me away. Just there was something, this old soul within her eyes and this kind of electricity about her. And so we had brought her in with 5 other girls to chemistry test with Jason to really play some scenes and see how they did. She happened to be the first girl that came in, and it was magic. You just felt the chemistry between them right off the bat. And Jason can be an intimidating presence, just by his own kind of energy level and how he carries himself. And she was just there toe to toe, and we chose one of the most emotional scenes in the movie to do in the room, and it kind of stood the hair on our arms up, and we knew that was it. We knew she was the one. So when you get that type of chemistry off camera, my job is just to put them in front of the camera and unleash them and get out of the way and let them do their thing.
Yeah. If I recall correctly, you prefer not to rehearse and instead you just like to film like the first takes and stuff. In Shelter, did you have to do multiple takes, or were you able to get footage from the beginning that you were able to use?
The beginning a lot. I don't like to rehearse because I don't like to beat something to death. I like that to get it to a point where the actors and I and the crew, by the way, we understand the subtext of the scene, we understand the intent, we know where we're going, and then now go dance, because even in those first takes that normally would be a full rehearsal, 75% of it might not be usable. But there's something that happened that became organic to that moment that doesn't feel rehearsed because it wasn't rehearsed. And I love those spontaneous moments because I feel like once you get past take 5, everybody's clicking into a rhythm, the camera's clicked in rhythm, and it feels choreographed. And I'm always trying to make something feel more docudrama and more real. So the earlier you can get it on in the lens, the better for me.
That's beautiful. Speaking of takes, were there any takes messed up, or would any take be in a blooper reel if you were to compose one?
I've never done the blooper reels, although there were some funny moments here and there, but some very spontaneous things would happen, especially when you're working with an animal. Our lovely Jack, who we loved, is going to go where they want to go sometimes and so forth, or react to a human being a certain way. And there's just these great moments of when you're in the scene, and in character where you allow things to be in. It happened between Jason and Bodhi as well, where again, they're so in the scene and in the moment that they're not going, well, wait a minute, you said the line this way before, and this is the way that we did it. Like, it's just really letting things be organic. And when you get great actors in front of the camera like that, as well as action moments that maybe not were scripted, you kind of go with them. And I love that. I love that you get things that maybe there's only one take in it, but that's why I'm always trying to capture it right from the start.
For sure. Did you have to shorten the film at all? Or were there takes that you couldn't include, or were you able to include most of what it started? Like, if it started off as a longer film, did you have to cut anything anywhere?
I think that, well, the answer is yes, because what we do is we write the movie and then we shoot the movie and then we rewrite the movie again based on what was filmed. And so it's never going to be the exact way the script is. So you're using now stuff that went from black and white words to suddenly being in a visual and an audio format. And then you're using those things to kind of influence the way that the rhythm of the cut should be and so forth. So I don't really think about things that were left on the proverbial cutting room floor. They're more of, how does it service the story? How does it propel it? How does it keep me engaged, give me information that I need, or that will make me emotionally attached to what is happening? And anything that feels superfluous from there, you just have to be relentless and not use it. So there are things that were magical moments that aren't in the movie, but they were moments that I felt weren't propelling me to the next thing.
For sure. Just to wrap up with one more question, how do you hope the viewers react to the film?
That I'm giving you Jason Statham at his finest, that you get to go on this big action ride and love and appreciate the big action star he is that we all love. But you're also coming away going, wow, I haven't seen that side of him before. Like, you're seeing something new and fresh. And I know that's why Jason did it as well. He really loved who this character was, and loved this relationship between him and Jesse, that Bodhi Ray plays. And I'm really proud to be on the ride of it. But you're going to get your cake and eat it too. You're going to see a new, fresh version of Jason Statham, and we're not going to rob you from the action star that he is.
That's wonderful, because that's exactly how I felt after finishing the film. So,
Oh, I love that.
perfect.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you for your time today. Shelter's really, just as you said. Yeah. Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Great interview. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.